puts out notification. I don't know how it works. So, not much warning on my lives. I know. Hope everybody's doing good. God bless you, people. I know there's people. Fix to show some numbers up in here. So, there's a lot going on. The picture that I put as the thumbnail is basically a Russian troop carrying naval vessel, an actual Navy ship. And the way that Ukraine actually described it was, before they said Slava Ukrainu, glory to Ukraine, before they said that, they said that the Russians burn well. That's what they said. They hit that ship because it's been bombing from the west side of Mariupol. All the Russian ships are now targeting cities way out of their reach, and so really they all need to be taken out. But that particular one is on fire, or was on fire and burned and whatever. I'm sure it took out that whole group of people there. So the ships that I wanted to talk about were a little bit different. Now, all of the oligarchs, the rich people, basically everybody that's on Putin's friends and family plan, okay, they all get money, lots of money. And they get money because they all own companies that are munitions supply companies, companies that make like the SU series of fighters, companies that make missiles, that kind of thing. And it's a friends and family plan. Only certain people get to be rich in Russia, because nobody's supposed to have more than anybody else. As a matter of fact, when they said there was going to be sanctions on Russia, the official answer when they were talking about sanctions on Putin himself, they said, oh, that's not going to hurt Putin because he's not even legally allowed to own anything outside of Russia and whatever. Okay. Yeah, of course they own stuff. They got billion-dollar yachts, okay? I know it's like at least in the 700 million to, I think one of them was 700 billion. I don't know. They got all that money tied up in yachts. Some have 4 or 5. Some are in dry dock. They couldn't get them fixed fast enough before. There was 2 different types of sanctions. One was from the EU. One was from the UK. Now, they were playing dodgeball. They were going to all set out on the ocean, all these rich people, while there's a war. While Putin is in a bunker. They were all leaving the country to go on staycation. Stay somewhere else on vacation, staycation. So they were staycating on their boats. These are very expensive yachts. They require lots of fuel. Well, they will go into a port, and people know ahead of time. They see that big yacht. They know who it is. They're tracking them. They have to use transponders and say where they're heading. And well, I have to say, some of them are saying now awaiting orders. So they have to say kind of where they're going, or at least what they are about. And some of them are turning their transponders off when they're in certain areas because they're doing nefarious things. They are trying to avoid ports. But when they come into port, and the people that are there, some of them are from Ukraine. And they're getting out there on little dinghies and boats and blocking them physically from port docking. Okay? Docking at the port to get fuel. Now these big boats, these big yachts, they need fuel. So, even if they can dock, all of the fuel suppliers are saying, we don't supply Russian ships. So, a lot of these rich people think they never need shore power. If they could even get plugged in and get supplied with shore power, where it powers their air conditioners, their water pumps for water and drinking water, all that, because they're going to be running out of diesel pretty soon. But unless the Russian Navy starts supplying them with fuel. One of them did this already. Now, one of them turned off the transponder and went very close to a Russian ship, and then all of a sudden went away. Another one went past that area. They don't think that that one got fuel, but maybe he didn't know the trick or the secret handshake and the secret phone number to the Russian Navy to get fuel. What did happen was this. They turned off their transponder. Now, by law, they're supposed to have it on all the time. Well, what was not safe is they were close to a big ship. If a little ship, sometimes fiberglass, whatever, is close to a bigger ship in the ocean, it's dangerous. Very, very dangerous. For that, you would want to have insurance. Well, as I was telling you with the EU sanctions and then the UK sanctions, okay, basically none of them have insurance anymore. And they've all been decertified by Lloyd's. Now, Lloyd's is a company, if you've ever heard of Lloyd's of London, they do insurance, but Lloyd's also has a branch that certifies yachts and says, this ship is safe to travel and you can let it dock. They all were rescinded their certifications through Lloyd's, and now they can't dock. And they also lost their insurance. Now what they're going to have to do now is they're going to have to get temporary passes from Russia. But then that means Russia knows they own a big super yacht, and Russia says you're not supposed to have a super yacht. You're only supposed to have a couple rubles in a milk cow and whatever. So nobody's supposed to have any more than anybody else in Russia because they're communists. So because they have things outside the country, and even if they had euros, you can't buy nothing if nobody sell you nothing. Back to the port thing. When they go into port, a lot of them, what's happening is this. They're saying, oh, I can go in there because EU sanctions have me sanctioned, but not in this country. And then, well, the United Kingdom also sanctioned you that morning. And then they descend upon the ship and they seize the ship. And they make them leave. And probably advise them, hey, by the way, you probably can't get a room at the hotel because they ain't gonna put you up either. And you might go to the next town and they probably won't put you up either. So, the Russian oligarchs are having a bad day. Much like that ship there. They're still alive, unlike that ship, but they're walking. Eventually they'll get every single ship there is. There will not be one ship left that will not be seized. Not one. Here's why. They can make it like on the bigger ones, if they were full of fuel, I think they said 4,000 to 9,000 miles or something like that. That's if they're just using the engines to go and be underway. They can sit out there for about, well, 2 months, I think, running the thing, just idling for what they need. Maybe 4 if they stretch it. But they have to be refitted with food. What's happening is they're getting rid of their crew because they can't pay their crew because they cannot access credit or bank accounts because they've been sanctioned on the banking side. Where does that leave them? Well, leaves them wherever they wound up at. Gibraltar. A lot of them are trying to get to Turkey. So they're riding around on their yachts, running out of fuel, in the end, they're going to be on a slow boat back to Russia because they ain't going to have no ship because they're all going to be seized. So, and they won't have a crew to man their boat. The ones that are seized, the crew has to leave. So does the captain. They have went and put these boats in other people's names, in other companies' names, and then made some of them made their ex-wives, some of them made their daughters, some of them other people to be beneficiaries of the boat in a way that's like it's kind of their boat, but it's taken care of by a corporate conglomerate. But they're the ones that's actually benefiting from it. And as soon as they can prove that, first they seize the boat, then they prove it. There's a food shortage in a lot of places. There's a lot going on. Where are we talking about? Are we talking about the U.S. or are we talking about Russia? But I know Russia's got some issues. Yeah. There's people that are actually going online saying, well, it's propaganda for the Russian state, saying that there's plenty of food where they're at in Russia and this and that. But there will always be a supply in certain places. Yeah, America and the world. Yep. Well, not everything's short. There's always going to be potatoes. I'm hauling food right now. I'm going to make sure that I keep hauling. A lot of other drivers are. The supply we're worried about. We're worried about fuel and death. We're eyeing that sideways. So, we are looking at, how long is that going to last? Back to the ships, though. They can make fresh water because they have, as long as they have diesel, they have desalination plants on board, reverse osmosis, that kind of thing. And then, let's see. My 20 pounds of oats is now $25. It was $15 before. That's a lot of oats. Funny question. You're buying oats. Is that for a horse? Is that what's going on there? There's a lot of oats. I've seen the Quaker dude in a little can, and that's not 25 pounds. Well, I do know this. You can live off next to nothing if you eat oatmeal, a little bit of cinnamon, and put a banana in it as breakfast. You can eat off next to nothing. So, let's see here. I love oats. Yeah, I bet. I'm just saying that's a lot of oats. So I thought maybe you had a horse, like with a oat bag, the bag that maybe you're taking care of a horse. I've got people I know that have last you for a month. Oh, okay. Because you feed things like that to horses other than just hay. Most times they give them sweet feed. But yeah, kind of oats. Some people mix that in with stuff for animals, and stuff. But yeah, I keep the oatmeal. I just buy them in the little packs because I like the variety. Some of them are apple, some of them cinnamon, this kind of thing. But I've been carrying my own cinnamon. The cinnamon is medicine. There's two different types of cinnamon, in case you don't know. So one type is a lot more beneficial for medicine reasons. There was two types of cinnamon that they offered as incense to the altar of God. Okay, along with frankincense, myrrh, and sage. And you don't offer any odd incense to the altar of God. That's why he killed two of the kids of Aaron, who were high priests, but they offered the wrong incense and God killed them. So yeah, so cinnamon. So back to the oats thing. Cinnamon's great in oats and it's medicinal. Try some cinnamon in there with it. Keep that in mind. It also gives you energy. It'll help you. Lots of reasons for cinnamon. So, anyways, so I eat cinnamon oatmeal, and I'm glad you brought that up. I need to get some. I'm trying to be cheap about stuff, just because it's like there's no reason to waste all that money on the road and eat all the bad food and stuff. When I need a steak, I need a steak, but chicken noodle soup, that kind of thing. Well, it would go a long way if you're on a boat, like I was talking about. They're going to need to refit. And I was just thinking on how much it costs me a day to live. They got a whole crew to feed, and they got to have fuel to keep the water running. But then they also have to have food. So they can last about, at the most, a month to 2 months, depending on if they ration with food each boat. That's if they're well stocked when they start. They're not well stocked right now, and they don't have fuel, and nobody will sell them fuel, and nobody will sell them food. So when they go to shore, even those people that are, crew of that boat, and they say, we're crew of this boat, we need food, they're going to say, we can't sell it to you because that's a Russian boat. So the oligarchs are fixing to be walking, all of them. They're going to be looking for the nearest place that they can pick up a Russian submarine or Russian ship to take them home. And it won't be a good idea to go to Mariupol because they're blowing those ships out of the water at this point because it's been fired on Ukraine. Now, the other part of this is a knowing. It was a vision I had. I think you're going to like this. I laughed. It happened when I woke up, and I was already up for, say, about 15, 20 minutes. And that's how it happens. It's either before I go to sleep or after. And it's like, oh, good, you're up. Here's this. And then I have to discern what it's about. So I had a vision. And as you know, sometimes they, all the time, they happen. And I'm just trying to discern exactly how this is going to happen, but this is how I saw it, and it was comical. I laughed so hard. I mean, when you have a vision and you're laughing your head off and you can't stop laughing, that's good stuff. So, better than all the doom and gloom of it all, here's my laugh-tastic vision. So basically, in this vision, the Russian troops were using their, and none of them are encrypted, by the way, all of their communique, and they even, by the way, Ukraine just captured a high communications, high encrypted kind of a whole container of, communications equipment that is used as a base itself. They just captured it. So the people had left it. The Russian soldiers had abandoned it, running away for some reason. They do a lot of that. Hands laced on their head, kind of like the vision I saw on that one. Well, and they still haven't even completed the charge of the heavy brigade that I saw. But it's little by little, it's what's happening, because they're taking them out, the whole column. Well, in this vision, this is what happened. The Russian troops were communicating on radio frequencies that Ukraine actually had control over. They called in and said, this is a report. And they said, okay, go ahead. And so the Ukrainians took it over and spoofed it. And basically said that when they asked, at the point they took over was after a supply line basically drop team said, did you make it to your destination? They said, yes, we did. Now, they were supposed to be forward advancing into Ukraine. However, instead they withdrew because they couldn't make it because they were getting fired on. So they said on the Russian side, okay, we're going to drop your resupply there. And they dropped in several huge containers and pallets of ammunition, food, all types of resupply. And I don't know, maybe a couple small vehicles. What I saw was it wasn't like tanks and stuff. We're talking like little bitty like personnel, you know, like a little Jeep, but they're a little different. A few of those. But mainly the bullets and food that they needed. So the Ukrainians promptly gathered that up and moved it a good ways from the area, and they basically captured it. And so I mean, I'm laughing. I'm trying to stay straight now without laughing. I'm really trying not to laugh now. It was just so funny that in my mind, the way it happened, and I saw it so clear, and knowing that this is going to happen, this is freaking hilarious. It's so funny that they took over their communications and spoofed it and made the Russian side believe that they had actually met their objective, got to their point, and that they needed resupply, and they took their supplies. But then after this, what happened was, because the Russian troops did not have their resupply, they surrendered to the Ukrainians, that group of them, because they needed those supplies. I laughed so hard. I mean, you have a vision and you laugh at it before you can even talk. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Not only did they spoof and say, yes, they made it and they got their supplies, but then because the Russians didn't have their supplies, they, after this, ran out of food and surrendered. That group of them. Now they're surrendering all the time, you know, and I said this, but hey, nobody listens to me, right? I'm just a dumb truck driver. But yeah, some people were putting, oh, death before dishonor, and all that. You can look at all the old comments in that live. No, they would never surrender, and Russia could take Ukraine. Huh, okay. Well, so this, and we're not going to call it a war, because if you call it a war, then you get 15 years in prison in Russia. So we're not going to do that. What we're going to call it is this exercise, okay? That one, like I named it, is Operation Oopski, because they didn't mean to drop the supplies on the Ukrainian side. It was Oopski, you know. So Operation Oopski, it will happen. Watch the news. Ukraine will brag about it. Then after that is when they'll surrender. There's a lot of more of the Russian troops that needed those supplies. But I'm gonna check out your comment here. Let's see here. I'm going to need to order a pallet soon if stores are out like this. Yeah, well, I don't know, man. I don't know who the Quaker Oat person is. And I appreciate the like, and see like 0 in the room. Google messes with my numbers. Google, y'all need to stop. I think they wait for me to acknowledge that they're messing with the numbers before they put somebody in the room, and I'm sure there's more. Anyway, I got a lot of the strong silent type, you know what I'm saying? One of those 3-letter agencies, I'm sure, maybe 3 or 4 of them. And then, you know, maybe the Stanford School of Physics and remote viewing is listening at this point. I don't know, whatever, man. So yeah, there's that. They know what's up. So what's up, Stanford? Yeah, you know, I don't know about Quaker Oats. I don't know what kind of oats you eat. I've never seen them have a problem be out of oats at a place that is like Costco or Sam's Club. Maybe look into Sam's Club, because they could get you a pallet. You see what I'm saying? Because you mentioned pallet, and I thought about a pallet oats. Where would you get a pallet oats? Sam's Club. You know what I'm saying? You can get a pallet oats. You get a pallet of everything there. Back when people were fighting for toilet paper, you know, there was that, which was, it was really funny. I don't even bring that. But okay. And by the way, so Putin, in a tit for tat kind of thing, has now sanctioned all kinds of people in the U.S. government, including Hillary Clinton. Now, I don't know why he's wanting to mess with her. I wouldn't mess with her. You know, think what you want, whatever. I'm going to say something. They say there's a whole list of people who have died who, you know, was close to that whole thing, and that they call it her list. I'm not missing that. She put drones on people. You know, can't we just drone this guy? Remember, like, and she even said about Gaddafi, we came, we saw, he died. Yeah, don't mess with. But he's done sanctioned her, so I don't think she has anything overseas. I don't think she even cares for anything overseas. It's just kind of a little thing. It's like, she's gonna side eye him and say, "Did you bring me into this? Do you even know? Do you know?" So, yeah, there's that. It'll be in the, you know, I mean, she had a whole foundation. So, you know, anyway, he's trying to sanction people. It's really kind of crazy too. He said that he's not. Putin said that they're going to now require Germany to pay for their oil in rubles. Now, this is a problem because if you work in Germany, you know, I mean, we're not talking the Deutsche Mark, rubles, people, not even euros. So I don't know where you work. I don't get paid in rubles. We joke and we say we make peanuts. I make money. It's American. I don't make no rubles. So it's laughable. It's a problem. And I think it was Italy that said, we're just going to keep paying them in, you know, whatever, because, you know, euros or whatever. But honestly, does this mean that people in Russia can take their worthless rubles and kind of in the same idea as carbon credits, sell rubles online? Like, you know how they have cryptocurrency and you can go to an ATM? Are you going to be able to go to an ATM now in Germany if you want to buy gas for your country, or for whatever? Are they going to be able to buy rubles from people in Russia temporarily so they can change it over to rubles? See, they know that the exchange rate's going to change. The whole contract's going to change. They're going to up the prices so that it makes it basically like, instead of charging them $1 a gallon or $100 a barrel, they would be charging them $400 a barrel. They already know Russia's going to gouge them on this. So it's not just about, hey, how do we get our hands on rubles? It's a not even a possibility of them accepting this. So, and they're saying that the UK just put out a carrier. This is World War III, people. We're just at the first of it. I said, well, what are you wearing to World War Wednesday? It started that Wednesday. Actually, it would have been the day that the U.S. said, but just like I said, so that Russia could save face and say there was not any kind of a leak of intelligence of their people, or what. Oh, we don't have any kind of a leak. The Americans couldn't know because we didn't attack that day. We attacked the very next day. Right. That's what they would do, just to technically say, you know, very lawyer-like, you know. So he's a lawyer. He's not a general, but he's a lawyer. So it's a KGB operation. This is not a war. We're not allowed to call it a war. It's either you can call it an exercise, okay, which tends to, you know, lend credence to what I was saying about calling it a yacht club. So right now, it's not just the oligarchs that are part of the yacht club. It's also the Russian Navy, because this couldn't possibly be a war. And they're not out doing maneuvers in the ocean. So since they're docked, they're using those Russian ships as, it would be loitering, and that's not good. So they're using them as yachts. So you got all these Russian yachts in the Black Sea, and the ones from the oligarchs that are flying all over the place to other countries, you know, when I say flying, one of them hightailed it all the way from like Panama all the way to Gibraltar, and then slowed down, and then now they're out of fuel. They're flying as fast as they can to where they're trying to be and where they think they'd be safe. They thought they'd be safe in Turkey. One of them is actually going to be going through the Panama Canal. Now, my word on that is this: what I think, this is my opinion. It's just an opinion. Is I don't see why. Now, even though we did give Panama the isthmus for Christmas, that's what happened. See, a long time ago, we made a deal with the Panamanians that, hey, we'll have a base down here and we will watch over this if you let us build this canal, and we'll use it for shipping, and then after how many how many years, we will give it right back to you and we'll leave. And that's what we did, and they didn't like it because we pulled out our military base. But then promptly Russia started running their nuclear submarines through there and paying them to go through, so whatever. So Panama got an isthmus for Christmas. It's called an isthmus if you cut through land with water. So we don't technically own the Panama Canal now. We don't even have rights to the customs of it. However, can we not assert some type of blockage of it, or temporary issue with it, or possibly, just possibly, maybe something underwater could pokey the side of the of the Russian oligarch ship that's fixing to go through. I'm telling you, it's fixing to happen. It ain't happened yet, people. I'm giving you intel, and if the government's listening, because I know they are, you maybe just poke a little hole in the bottom of the Russian oligarch ship before it goes through the Panama Canal. Just saying, because it's going west, and once it gets west, they're gonna find some safe haven out there. Now, honestly, they're gonna go broke trying, is where they're gonna go, because they got no access to their accounts. They're known. The people are known. The ships have names, and those names mean something, and they're known. The crew on board are known. The transponders are known. It's known that they don't have insurance. This is the key. Insurance. Panama Canal. Insurance. I think that you can stop them and say, hey, you can't go through the Panama Canal because you have been decertified by Lloyd's and you got no insurance on that thing. Park it out there and we'll talk. And then, pokey up under the boat, and some frogman kind of little, and oops, you got a leak. You definitely can't come through now. And go out there, and nobody will fix it because ain't nobody gonna work on a Russian ship. That's where I'm at on that. That's how you get an oligarch off of a boat that's trying to go through the Panama Canal that hadn't happened yet. But I'm telling you, even though it's a super secret, and you don't know it's super secret, but I'll tell you it's super secret now. You know it happened. So you don't know about it, I don't know about it, but now everybody knows about it. They have not gone through the Panama Canal yet, but they're heading that way. Their transponder says they're heading that way. They're underway. Stop it before it happens. Somebody jump on it. You know what I mean? Make a Russian oligarch have a not so good day, and then maybe give him a slow boat back. Instead of a slow boat to China, they need a slow boat to Russia. So then Russia, you need to go get your oligarchs. They all need rides. They lost their ride. So people, I don't know how long I'll be on this live. I'll let it roll like that. You can make comments all you want. We'll talk about oats and whey or whatever, and Miss Muffet and all that, because when they call this device and I got to go get unloaded, if they ever do get me unloaded, I've been waiting for 2.5 hours, but I made some money. But that's not the kind of way I want to make money. I want to roll, because I got another place to pick up a load at, and I gotta go further, and then I'm going to get to wash clothes, because it's been hard for me to find time. They just hold me up. At this point, I bought new pants. That's where I'm at. You know what I mean? New pants. So while I'm able to buy stuff, even the rich Russian oligarchs can't buy anything. So I'm not jealous of the upper class of any country at this point, because it's getting difficult. It's getting difficult for them to have anything. They can't even go to McDonald's. Now, you definitely can't go to McDonald's in Russia because they closed it up. But they can't even go to McDonald's in, I don't know, maybe they got one at the Panama Canal. Maybe that guy will have enough money to buy him a Happy Meal and get happy when he loses his boat. Because I know somebody listening to this. I know somebody listening to this. I know you're listening. And when you do, and you say, hey, yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe tell them you need insurance to go through the Panama Canal because you might damage the canal or something and the U.S. made it. Then they'll stop him before he goes through. And then another $700 million boat seized. And I want one. For all this intel, golly, listen, U.S., I'll take one of our mothballed ships. We still need one for Trucking Stuff Island. I need a carrier. We're going to put wooden deck on the top. And we're going to play shuffleboard like old people. Just let the truckers have a place to go in this cold weather, and we'll have warm weather. That's what we want, okay? And the Russians that have surrendered, they can come down there and work on Trucking Stuff Island. We're still not mad at them. Even the Ukrainians ain't mad at them. Look, they got lied to. I am hungry. I didn't want to be here. I don't even like war. I just wanted to join up and do exercises. They was just exercising. You can't be mad at people for exercising, right? So, one of them just actually surrendered and gave up a, man, what did they say it was like a, however many $1 million vehicle they just gave up to Ukraine? I don't necessarily want none of their tanks or nothing. I'd take something that looks like a deuce and a half though. You know, maybe something you could put a box on and make into like a camper. I dig it. So if anybody is shipping those at such point as we start shipping them to the US, use RussianVehicles.com. I just started a whole new website. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I'd like one of them if somebody could get me one, but definitely help us out. You could send us the Russians that have surrendered, because I believe they're good people still, and the ones that wasn't shooting, okay, the ones that just come up in there, man, I don't even know, we was told to go this way. I looked over, seen some signs that said welcome to hell, and that's what the signs say. And because they've changed the signs, the Ukrainians are so funny, they changed the road signs, and then instead of saying you have now reached Kyiv, it says welcome to hell. It says different signs say different things, go home Russians or whatever. They have changed road signs, and so they don't even know where they're at because they don't have maps. So like I said, even in that T-72, or I have to look at what it was, golly, I forget the name of that tank movie, but I'll put the link up again. And even back then, and they were in Nazi Germany in a camp, they knew they needed a map. So these Russians, let me tell you what they have in their tanks. This is good intel, in case you didn't know. A Russian tank is now supplied with a emergency bandage kit from 1979, okay? A meal ready to eat that has now been expired for 7 years. So they're out of date food. So you think you can't get oats. The Russian troops is going in there and they don't even have meals. So, but they don't have a map. As far as I know, they don't have night vision. Their weapons are very lacking. I've seen it. And they're pointing them at each other when they're crawling around the tanks and trying to get out of the way when they're being ambushed. Nobody's taking point. Nobody's trying to put down suppressive fire. I'm looking at it and laughing at it sideways. I've still wondered though why they haven't taken out that whole column just with one. It would have been there 5 minutes. If I was running things and I was over there, that column would have been less than 5 minutes. It never would have made the news. It would have been called the Road of Death in Ukraine instead of the Road of Death in Iraq. Look up Iraq. When we invaded that and they had all those tanks and they all got taken out, they called it the Road of Death. Yeah, it's kind of like, it would have been like that. The news would have never shown one of them that wasn't hit because they wouldn't have seen it until it was. It would have already been hit. So that one throws me. But they're doing good now. And so I'm looking at it. Maybe there was a deal, maybe something, maybe whatever. But It's still cold there, but it's swampy and muddy. And the same thing that held up Napoleon, the mud, is going to hold up Russia. Now, Mariupol was a bunch of ill-prepared. They didn't expect it. They should have expected that. The attack from the sea. They will get a handle on that. And it's my understanding that they have not taken the west of Kyiv, but there's been some fights on the east of Kyiv. But it's like the Russians come in, and then at night, even if they've gained any territory, that the Ukrainians push them back out every night. It's like a back and forth thing every night. It's an understanding. It's like, okay, go back where you came from now, and or we're going to shoot you. And now they're starting to take out the yacht club, because it's just a yacht club. This ain't no war. It's just a military exercise. So Ukraine is also exercising. They're exercising their right to shut down and to render harmless the yachts. So, anybody wants to say anything, I don't mean to ever monopolize the conversation. I just tell y'all what's popping. Well, there's a bunch of stuff popping off. There's stuff that I have not mentioned, which one thing I'll mention is this, and this is a very this one's hard to understand for myself. So I'm gonna say this: my religion is closest actually to the Eastern Orthodox that's out of Russia, because they still have healers. But I was baptized Catholic. I'm going to say this, people. You have to look at how things are. Some odd things going on. Russia, basically Putin, was on television with the leader of the Orthodox Church in Russia, saying that the Orthodox Church supports their effort in Ukraine. Makes no sense to me, because it's killing indiscriminately. Maybe they told him he was going to be taken out if he didn't. I don't know. And then it's a very Russian thing to do. But then further than that, tomorrow something is supposed to happen that was supposed to happen back in like 1960, I'm told, but never did. That the Catholic Church is supposed to consecrate Russia to the Holy Virgin Mary, which means that they are supposed to pray for them and this and that and accept them. So how that exactly is timely to tomorrow, while they're in a war attacking Ukraine, and how public this thing's going to happen and how that's going to happen, I don't know. Is it to give a civilian corridor and safe passage for more of the Ukrainian people, and maybe to stop Russia from shelling Ukraine? I don't know. What is the end game of it all? Well, I know one thing. I saw The Last Day of Putin. I know it's two generals. And now what I'm looking at sideways is this. He just happened to blame a few people for the failure of his ability to take over Ukraine in 2 days like he thought he could. He thought this was a 2-day event. Okay? He thought he was going to take over Kyiv, install a puppet government, and then be running the thing. Well, not so fast. Not so much. And maybe he even believed his own rhetoric that the Ukrainian people would welcome the Russian army with open arms. Maybe. Maybe he believed that, maybe he didn't. But he's blamed the head of the FSB, the FSB, which also is the same as the KGB, used to be. This is a KGB operation, remember. But it's not a war. Okay. So he's blaming them, but he put the head of that FSB in, or at least the head of the intelligence of this thing that is in it, in the FSB, he put him under house arrest, but he also put two of his top generals under house arrest. Now, my vision was that 2 generals is the ones that help him to meet Kingdom Come. So I think that's the 2 generals. I don't care what anybody says. It's too much of a coincidence that there was 2 of them. It's too much of a coincidence, my vision, 2 of them. Now, only one of them does the deal, but it is what it is. They were both there. I saw it, and man, it's crazy. Last thing you heard was Putin, you know. So, there's that. That's going to happen. You know, you'll read about that in the news or see it in the news. You know, you'll get it on your daily dose of puppies and kittens caught in a tree and wokeism and whatever from CNN and all them. And it'll be on there though, I'm sure. But if it's already happened, you never know, because honestly, they say that all the videos with Putin in it, that he's wearing the same suit, and they think that they were recorded on the same day. Did he record a whole bunch of newscasts because he's so paranoid and wants to stay in his bunker? And he's actually wearing a bulletproof vest under his suit, but he's not paranoid. Sitting at the end of a 50-foot long tail, he's not paranoid. And wearing a bulletproof vest? No. So, is it that he could have already met his demise? Man, I'm just saying I know what I saw. I ain't saying I know the timeline on it, because I don't. I'm not giving that. That's not knowledge I'm giving. However, they're putting out all of these news broadcasts that look like they were on the same day. And it's real easy if you're lying to you people and saying, oh, there's been no change today. And it's real easy to do 5 or 6 days worth. But he was wearing the same suit. And people in our mainstream, lamestream media, like CNN and C-SPAN, all put it up and said, look, Putin has been wearing the same suit for 2 days now, or 3 days now, or whatever. It's kind of odd. Is it another clone? You know, Clonovich, you know? I don't know. I don't know. But I just know what I saw. And I think that if he is gone, that'd be a good time for them to show all the copies. Now, already pre-programmed broadcasts. Now, it will be difficult, and they will need to go ahead and get a peace agreement before they admit that their leader's dead. They need to go ahead and get a peace agreement out of Ukraine and stop the war before they say, oh, yeah, and by the way, we accept the peace agreement, but just so you know, Putin's dead. A lot of people in Ukraine who are in the army, their new slogan is that they're going to go to the Kremlin, and they are going to go to Moscow, and they're going to take out Putin. That's what they're saying. They're vowing this. And they're so very Russian-alike, they could take and actually make that happen. They could pull that off. So the generals are going to get them first. I'm just saying, this is what they're saying. So that's why every recording of Putin up until now, whether it was that he's already gone and those are recorded or whatever, all the older recordings, all of them, he's wearing a bulletproof vest. He's walking a little funny because of it too. Evidently it's a heavy one. So maybe they don't have good Kevlar lightweight ones. I don't know. So people other than that, and he's denazifying, just so you know. But in case you didn't know what he used to do while he was in the KGB, I'll tell you this. When East Germany and West Germany were separated by a wall, he was actually running Nazis. So the Z on the side of the tank that I said is for Zechariah, well, it's kind of like this. Putin puts the Z in Nazi, in case you didn't know. Like, he put the Z in Nazi, for real. He was running Nazis, groups of them, neo-Nazis, in Germany to cause problems. And he also has his own little group called the Football Hooliganism Group, whatever they are. Not to be confused with the other mercenaries that he's got, the Wagner Group, that don't exist, but they're sending them into Ukraine anyway. So he's got all these kill squads, but he's also got like I said, the football hooliganism thing. But he was running. All of these people got arrested and put in prison. They got caught, and they admitted who was running them. He was running neo-Nazis in Germany back during the Cold War. And that guy's gonna be famous. Even at night, people can't help but get in front of my truck and be famous. So he puts the Z in Nazi, if anybody does. So for anybody to be talking about somebody denazifying, when he left Germany is when things got denazified, because they all got arrested, and he barely got out of there after burning papers and this kind of stuff, and they got out. And also things calmed down and stopped happening. No more bombings, no more this and that. So single-handedly, when they finished, running them out of Germany, that's when Germany was denazified. But it's not even that they were all that much Nazis. They just called themselves this and that, and they might have had some hate. But he was pushing it. In case you didn't know what his job was, you could look it up. There's people who have done the research. And actually, Mark Felton did a video on that. I'll try to find a link up. He does good history, what do you call them, biographies or something like that. And if you want more information about the ships and how that's going on, you can track them yourself by Ship Tracker. But there's also a guy on YouTube that's been talking about these super yachts. There's another guy who is actually a engineer, I think. I don't think he's a captain of a ship, but he's like an engineer, head engineer. Oh, and by the way, let's just go through it by the numbers. There's been, I think, about 7 or more of those super yachts that's been seized. One of them, just so you know, is the one that this guy was from Ukraine, and he was on a super yacht as an engineer, and he was very smart. It was owned by a Russian oligarch who actually makes missiles, and maybe has, or maybe he makes the Su airplanes too, but some kind of missile company in Russia. So because of what was going on, he didn't support the battle that basically his boss owned a company that was making armaments for. So he told everybody, get off the ship, told them what was fixing to happen. He sabotaged the ship, and it was genius the way he did it. He turned the pumps, he let water into the boat, turned the pumps, and he deactivated them so nobody could pump the bilge water out, and it had to sink. But then they finally got it to stop sinking, but it was still half sunk. Then they arrested him, and he went to court, and the judge says, well, what do you have to say for yourself? He says, yeah, I did it, and not only that, that's just a small thing compared to what I'm going to do to Russia. And so he was released, maybe on bond, I'm not sure, but then he promptly went to Ukraine to go and fight for Ukraine. But they have since seized the ship from the oligarch that he tried to sink. So that one's been seized. So all these $1 million yachts, just going by the numbers, man, there's probably about 20 of them. But I know I've seen 7 that have been seized that they're admitting to. Some are by Spain. So as soon as they port, they're boarded. And you have to have the certification, and you have to have insurance. But at least you have to have the certification that says you're safe to even dock. I don't care how new it looks. You still need the certification, and you need the flag of the country. A lot of these countries are recalling or rescinding the ability for those ships to fly their flag. So when they used to be flying this country's flag, they can't anymore. They need a new flag. You might want to try the white sheet that you're using below deck. Maybe that's a good flag. I think that's the new Russian yacht flag, would be the flag of surrender. That's where I'm at on that. Anybody else want to say anything, y'all go ahead. I'm really, it's hilarious. All the way to Operation Oopsie. So people, you can't make this stuff up. And the visions I have, they come true too. So watch for the Operation Oopsie. And in the meantime, you can keep up with the ships by watching that one guy that he tracks them. And he actually he's talked about pretty much a lot of the stuff that I brought up here. And probably a lot more. I just know how to use Ship Tracker. It's just a website thing. And I just know how to, I mean, I showed it before when I was looking for the ship that was coming out of Iran, that was their mobile terrorist base. And then the Sahand Revenge that I spoke about. Because nobody was talking about that. I'm like, you gotta look at the name, it means something. It was the Sahand that we blew to Kingdom Come. And this is the Sahand also that makes it the Sahand's Revenge. We need to take that one out because they're trying to take out a big boy, you know? So, yeah, a little stupid, and they took care of it. It's taken care of. So the yachts will be taken care of, and I think I don't want a yacht, but they did take a oil tanking or some kind of a ice breaking something and turn it into a yacht. I'll take that one if it's too ugly for anybody else. That's just all I'm saying. I'm just putting it out there. If nobody wants to buy that yacht and it sells for like $1 or something stupid, or whether they just want to throw it to Truck and Stuff Island, care of, you know, the Miami, well, you can just go ahead and put it down there at Key West and notify me. I will go pick it up. So people, other than that, I'm gonna get off this thing unless y'all got something else to say. I'll give you a minute to make a few more comments here. And the last one was about the pallet of oats. People in Russia would be glad to have that pallet of oats. I'm gonna say that. In case you don't know, they're having issues for real. I know you brought it up, but yeah, they're having some issues. So their supply chain is broken. A ruble is now worth, well, okay, they closed the stock exchange, didn't open it up for God knows how many days now. They were going to open it up for half a day, but there's rules. Here's the rules. Nobody's allowed to short sell. Don't talk bad about Russian stock. And it's not allowed to crash or something. I don't know. It was really stupid. It's the fakest opening of a stock market I've ever heard of in my life. It ain't going to go nowhere. So basically 0.009 cent. So not even a penny. A ruble is not even worth a penny. So think of the ruble as like $1. If the dollar was only worth 0.009 cent, that's what the Russian ruble's worth. Or actually, that was the last estimation of it before they closed up stock markets and all this. Now it might be worth 0.0000009 cent. So they might just want to melt those down and make bullets for their defense when Ukraine comes storming across the border, when they run out of all those expensive tanks that they keep turning over. And now, for the people, by the way, there was one guy who did a video, and he's ex-military. I appreciate his service, and I appreciate his intelligence. He put something up, though, saying he doesn't believe that Ukraine can actually use these tanks because they would need maintenance. He's kind of wrong. They got a whole section where they're rebuilding those tanks. They got this place, and they send them there, and they're turning them in and turning them out. They're refitted, and Ukraine is using them. And they've already fired some of the missiles out of some of the bigger ones back at Russia. It's happening. So he just doesn't have the intel on that, but it is happening. It's a whole big thing. There's a area that they take them to and drop them off. They are refitted with parts off other ones, and with whatever they need to do, they get them roadworthy in quick succession, and those guys are working 24/7 on it. So there is a little scrapper down there that's scrapping, but it's not for junk. He's fixing them. So gonna get off this thing. God bless you, people. If Russia happens to drop a pallet of supplies in your yard or in front of you, there's got to be a number to report that to. I don't know. I've looked up. I had to figure out who to call for NORAD and this kind of thing. And you look. Maybe we need a number, but if not, just if you're in a truck and you have a rack or some way of chaining it and pulling it off a flatbed, slide it to the side of the road so it's not in the way, or call the state patrol. Maybe they can push it out of the way. They got bumpers. And then if it's oats, get in touch with Icon. Icon needs oats. If not, if it's something like, you know, arms or this, that, we'll call, you know, like, you know, the bomb squad for that. But then they'll come and take it, and the army will carry it away. If it's something good, maybe put it on eBay. I don't know. The tanks are free. You get to keep them if you're over there. I don't know what you get to keep as far as other stuff they've got. I don't want their radio equipment. It would be nice to have a deuce and a half. A truck with a box. Gut all the equipment. I don't need that. I need a microwave, a shower, a bed, and I don't know, man. Fuel. Fuel would be good. So hopefully it's full of fuel. I think I need to start selling used Russian equipment, because it's going to come pretty cheap. You just got to go pick it up. It's getting in the way. They're dropping too much of it in Ukraine. They just drive it there and park it. It's horrible. There's a parking issue in Ukraine. So people, I'm gonna get off this thing. I hope this was informative, maybe even a little bit that will make you laugh, and the other parts, it's just better than the other news you're not getting. God bless you. I'm gonna get off this thing. I'm out. Peace.